Today we're going to get into this wacky fella. This is John Daly. And John Daly is a golfer. He's, I think, late 50s. And he's an interesting person. He's a kind soul, I think. A troubled soul. A very skilled golfer. Obviously, he's a professional golfer. So, I think a lot of people that are really talented at something or have a skill they're really good at, they are fairly intelligent, fairly perceptive. And I think that he is. So let's start with this first picture. Obviously, throughout all of these pictures, you'll see that he is a bit overweight. And one of the things that he's always joking about, I did watch a couple of interviews with him, is his lack of self-control in terms of food and substances and things like that. And it's funny because with a lot of people like that, they end up having skills like this, where, it might have helped him, his lack of self-control, in terms of getting really good at golf. He probably couldn't stop playing, you know. But as you can see, he's a hairless cat. There's one photo at the end where he has a long beard. But he's pretty much the same all the time. I think he shaves his face just by custom, just by habit. It's a cultural thing. And I don't think that's true for most of these hairless cats out here. Excuse me. I think most of them are actually trying to look a certain way to achieve a certain goal, to get a certain reaction from people. But I think he was just doing it because, well, that's what people do. Now, he dresses in a certain way, and I think his clothing style speaks of how he feels inside. If he didn't dress like this, I don't know if we would really understand who he was. But let's get into another photo. Crazy hair. So he's I don't know what to say about this photo. I mean, this is a facial expression he has a lot. It's possibly because he's always outside in these pictures and the sun's in his eyes. But it seems like this is how his face is. He's kind of worried. Um, I don't know if there's much to see in this photo. Let's move on. Ah. So he does kind of have a squinty look. But here he looks completely different. He's clean shaven right there, fresh shave. He's got his hair nicely cut. This must be some kind of award ceremony. I'm imagining that's his wife and his child, or at least somebody very close to them because, well, they have this great energy about them. I think this is probably one of his happier moments, or happier times, rather. I don't know his happier moments. I don't know the guy. But out of all the pictures, I think this is the most flattering one of him, the one where he seems the most content. And there's a lot of sadness in his eyes. But there's also a lot of life, a lot of emotion. He's a very passionate person, I can tell. He's very alert here. I think he's sober. Um, yeah, it's a great photo. I like to see people happy. There goes that classic squint. Here he is as a young man. I'm guessing this has got to be the early 90s or 80s from the way his hair looks. He always looks a little bit oblivious. Like I said in the first or second photo, I believe, he's kind of worried. He's a worrisome person. And I think that probably leads him to making jokes all the time, being a bit flamboyant with the way he dresses, kind of a clown type of thing. Chris Farley, Jim Carrey type of thing. But I think he's a bit more sincere than them because he's not just telling jokes, he has a real competitive spirit, you know. He has a skill, a talent that he uses to compete with others. Now here he looks like he's been ravaging himself somehow. Doesn't look too good, even though that jacket is super cool. Loving the jacket. But he looks angry. And, you know, a lot of times people that are very passionate like this, that are making jokes all the time, that are very sensitive and very caring, they also get very angry at times. And I don't know what may have been going on in his life, but this is probably the roughest photo of him in his little collection. But even in his angry look, there's a helplessness, a vulnerability. He doesn't really try to hide. He doesn't put on airs. He doesn't really play the game. I think that's what he's trying to express with his clothing. Now, cigarettes are really bad for you. So whenever you see a person smoking a cigarette, that's just a huge tell that they're really stressed out. Because it really just gives you something to do with your hands and your mouth. It's like a fixation, they say. Um, it's a habit. And we want to have good habits. So whenever you see somebody smoking a cigarette, you either want to encourage them not to, not in like a judgmental way, but you know, if they bring it up, you want to help them have the courage to stop smoking because it's terrible for you. Or you just want to get away from them. It's bad for you. And you know, you start to act like who you spend time with. So you can't see his eyes, but I can tell by his posture that he's worried. He might be worried about the game. This is him a little bit older. Interesting photo, somewhat interesting. So this is that, you know, laughing spirit, that kind of jokester, you know, and I imagine all of his other friends and colleagues in the golfing world probably know how big of a jokester he is, so they're joining in on this. Who knows? I'm just guessing about these pictures. That's what this is about. But there's honestly not much to learn from this picture, other than, you know, you kind of get to see his spirit. Because a lot of people would never do this. I think this is the last photo now. He's looks like he's getting pretty old. He's not just because of the beard. He looks like he's gaining a bunch of weight, and his arms look kind of swollen. Once again, he's still in that flamboyant clothing. He's got like aliens or something, or skulls maybe, on his shorts and bright green shirts. I like the style. But this is a person that has a familiar personality. That's why I wanted to do this video. You'll catch this type of personality in the south of the U.S. or somewhere in Ireland or the UK or in Australia, South Africa. It's a certain type of, you know, laid back country, I guess, kind of vibe. I'm not sure where he's from, but he seems country. Um, yeah, he doesn't seem like an urban person, even though he's personable. I don't think he's scared to be around people or anything. But this is a kind soul. This is a sensitive person. This is a bit of an unstable person, I could probably guess. But with a guy like this, what you see is what you get. And that's the type of people I love. However that expresses itself, what you see is what you get. And I love it. Have a great day.